Welcome to Fraud Friday. I'm Bob Coleman, and we're talking loan fraud. Look, this podcast is geared for small business lenders. Obviously, those of you who are borrowers or anybody else, you're welcome to listen. But my remarks are geared for the lenders. And I talk to them about what to look for in fraud. And one of the things that we have to look for, I've developed as a red flag, that is long-time employees who have control over the bank account. And the problem for a lender is if you have that type of fraud, it can cause the firm to fail and the loan to default, which is what we're concerned about. So lenders are concerned about the inner workings of how an office works. In this case, we have Todd Chapman of West Virginia, who was the office manager of a law firm, been there for 30 years, and he was given control over the accounts. He had broad authority over day-to-day finances, reconciling accounts, issuing checks, handling client trust funds, and there's the problem. Between 2016 and 22, Mr. Chapman began a scheme. He used his position to write unauthorized checks from these accounts. And this one really bothers me. These are attorneys who are entrusted to take care of, who have a fiduciary responsibility toward their clients. They receive funds from a lawsuit. They put them into their account to manage the fees. Well, Mr. Chapman embezzled those fees. He stole them, $409,000 from 3 deceased clients. This was particularly galling to me. There was an infant who was injured, received a settlement deposit of $20,000 to be used when he or she turned 18. He took $16,000 of that. He stole another $100,000 from another minor. So what he thought he could do is these funds were squirreled away in a trust fund. The partners obviously did not know of this fraud. I hope, and this is the caveat for the lenders, let's make sure that these business insurance policies are enforced that cover that type of fraud. He also got involved with the PPP loan fraud. He put together the paperwork to get a $21,000 PPP loan, and he took the money and embezzled that. Mr. Chapman has pled guilty to these crimes. He will be facing jail. That type of crime, if it's covered by insurance, he may be lucky with 2 or 3 years. This is not a life sentence that we see with some of these other type of fraudsters. Federal prosecutors documented all the discrepancies, reviewed the records, and they did a forensic account, and they found that this was problematic. He will be sentenced on December 1st. So here are my takeaways that lenders should be concerned about on that. Whenever we have a consolidation of control where one person is controlling all the funds. I had a professor, I got my master's in business administration from the University of California, University of Southern California, go fight on. And they said, hey, until you become a public company, do not ever give over the signing authority of your business checking account. He's absolutely correct that the owner should never give up that responsibility to someone else. Now, I understand that was 40 years ago, and I certainly understand that we're in a world where we have wire transfers and debit cards and all sorts of things. But at a minimum, that small business owner should be getting a recap on a daily basis of all the outflows from that account, and certainly pay attention to that and understand what's happening. I don't care how large your company is. If you're the primary owner, you need to know where the money's going. Be particularly aware of transfers between accounts. We're moving money from the main corporate account to Charles Schwab to do some investing, buy a little crypto, or we're going to go ahead and send a wire to a deposit for one of our vendors. I don't care how that owner of that company must understand and be aware of where the cash is going of their company. Failure to do that is a huge risk, not only to their livelihood, to their family, to the operation of the company, to their employees, and of course, to my audience, to the loan of the bank. Be particularly attention to funds that are set aside for investment. For example, you may think you have money set aside for Charlie's college fund, and we're putting them in, and all of a sudden we go check on that, and the money's been dissipated because of the acts of a fraudulent employee. So Mr. Chapman will be going to jail. It's a sad case, especially, come on, you're stealing from kids. That's their money. And I also get very upset at scams for the elderly, where their money set aside are obviously the tragic cases of someone who's died in an airplane crash, and the attorneys steal the money. That type of crime goes way, that is not a victimless crime, and that is such as psychologically devastating to the victim as it is when you have a gun put to your face. I'm Bob Coleman. Thank you for joining me for Fraud Friday.